Communication Air.
Welcome to episode 60 of the Communication Air podcast, the community patch notes episode of the death of E3 or downfall of E3 and the rise of Summer Gamefest. And before we get into it, I wanted to wish our guest and Cheesy a happy belated Father's Day.
Oh, thanks.
Actually,
man.
I don't know if does Canada have the same?
We have the same. We are the same on this one. There's no exchange rate on Father's Day. I did learn that in Australia, Father's Day is in September, apparently. So you're right to ask.
I know. Mother's Day is different for Europe and America.
Like the UK. Yeah.
Yeah, I think theirs is in like March and ours is in May.
We'll start with M. That sounds right. That's fine. You got options.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to wish my dad a happy Father's Day. His name's Moog, the Blood Omen. He's in Elden Ring. You guys don't get the joke.
He's your
Dang
daddy.
it. He's my daddy right now because I'm trying to get ready for the DLC.
I gotcha.
And he is just...
I didn't want to make any fun. Like, I don't know, like, if there's some sort of heritage thing happening or, like, cultural. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not laughing at nobody's dad's name, okay?
I guess I should. I didn't set it up. Well, that's why I don't like to. I can't tell jokes because I'm not. Like, I just naturally have to say something. I can't, like, knock knock. You know, I can't do it.
I kind of wish I knew your real dad's name.
Yeah,
I wish I knew his name.
You want to know what my real dad's name is? It's a very difficult one to guess.
It's a very difficult one to guess?
Yeah, it's John.
Yeah.
I am the third. So, fun fact,
John the third.
in Johnny Bo lore, I am the third.
You should have 3 eyes in your name then, instead of I know it's the.
Yeah, I do like that. I do like that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
That's pretty good. I might have to change my name. We'll see.
Yeah, see what happens. But it started here. You heard it here first. What am I doing? Shut up, man.
But yeah, we do have a special guest with us, a returning guest, Sean Capri. Welcome back. Thanks for coming back on.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad I got to be asked back on. I didn't screw up too much the first time, so here I am.
I will say the episode that we did with you is one of my favorite ones. I think
thanks.
You
say that to everybody.
No.
I mean, it's just very subjective, right? One of is subjective. So
I want to go back. There was you recently had a returning guest, and I want to go back to that because I think you said something similar.
Yeah, we had Crawler on.
Yeah.
Again, and then we had the All In guys on twice.
Yeah, I want to go back.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that to Crawler. I would be like, oh, Crawler's back.
Yeah, we see you every week. Love you, buddy.
Crawler's probably listening right now. But since you're returning, like we always do the Super Mario Bros. 3 versus Mario World. Yes, I was thinking that we could, since we have the Nintendo Direct tomorrow. I mean, when this goes live, it won't be done and dusted. Yeah. But what is your number one thing you want to see at the Direct?
Ooh, okay. This might not be like number one for a lot of people, but right now I'm on a big 3DS kick. I want A Link Between Worlds on Switch. I want the walls to come down, man. I want the dam to crumble. More 3DS ports. That's just what I want to see. And I don't know. It's just the state that we're in.
More 3DS ports at $60.
I don't care. I would
pay it. That one's worth $60. That one's worth $60.
How much is Luigi's Mansion?
60. That one's not worth 60.
Same thing. Link would be. Is that like
Zelda?
Link Between Worlds? Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that game is great.
And Cheesy, I guess I'll ask you the same thing. What do you want to see? What's your number one thing?
I think the number one thing is just for there to be something new for you to eat the one chip. Like, I think it's just time. You're always saying that you're never wrong. You have little faith right now in Nintendo, and I think that they're just going to do the most Nintendo thing and come out with something that nobody was expecting.
Yeah, Mario Switch Kart. Sports Resort. That's literally what it's going to be.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm going to die.
That's a new game. That's a
Switch
new game.
Music. Switch Play and Switch Music.
Yeah. Actually, I wouldn't mind those. I wouldn't mind those.
Wii Music?
There are some games that will annoy me if they are what do me in. Switch Sports would be one. Any Kirby game would definitely be one. Mario Party would also be one. Like,
yep.
I know
Zack and Wiki from the Wii would be good too. Capcom game. Nobody remembers that one. That was pretty good.
Seth from Nintendo Drive and All In, and our friend Daft Husky are really pulling for a new Rhythm Heaven, and it could happen.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people out there, like Jeff Troyvania, he wants Silk Song. No, a lot of people want Silk Song, but I mean, that doesn't count towards this bet, but
because it's not Nintendo.
Yeah, it has to be published by Nintendo. Mm-hmm. So, all right, so I did research. We'll get into the topic soon, but I did research. I watched last year's June Direct, all right, to try to get a sense of the vibe of what we're gonna see in the, Direct tomorrow. And they opened it with Pokemon DLC. So we're going to get probably like a remaster or something as the opener. Like Wind Waker, Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
Probably the opener.
Or A Link Between Worlds. Everybody's thinking about Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, but like, man, what a left curve. What a curveball.
And then there was a trademarks for the Oracle games recently.
Oh, that'd be cool too. Yeah.
So maybe we see that. But then there's like a whole bunch of junk in the middle. There's just trash. Like a Splatfest announcement that nobody cares about is in the middle of it. And then at the end, they had Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and that's going to be Metroid Prime 4. So I'm safe. I'm safe.
I mean, it just irritates me, especially because Splatoon, there has been an announcement in every Direct for Splatoon
that nobody cares about.
3. I mean, I think Japan really cares about it.
Not here in America.
Yeah, I wish there was.
Actually, I think there's going to be Amiibo announced. I think there was a leak of Amiibo.
Really? For side order?
For side order, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't know. Anyway, I do want to talk about the topic.
It kind of relates, all right? It kind of relates.
It does. But I think we should, preface that Carpool Gaming, that Sean Capri is part of, is the creator of. Like, I don't know what you want the title of.
I'll take part of.
The king of.
Yeah, they're keeping me around. They haven't kicked me out.
You put on, there was a 3-day event of Summer Gamefest for your community and anybody that wanted to watch, and you did the Xbox Drive, you did the Summer Gamefest show, plus like Day of the Devs, the Wholesome Direct. What else am I missing? Devolver
Ubisoft.
Digital.
Yep,
Ubisoft,
Devolver.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't imagine how much time and like energy and how probably frustrating it was to like put together just to make sure everybody's schedules lined up, and like the artwork that you guys had was incredible. Who did that?
That was Fiona. Everything that you're saying right now, Fiona McKinnon. Honestly,
our
new secret weapon. Yeah, artwork, scheduling. Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody put in a ton of effort and energy and dedicated themselves to Summer Game Fest, but bringing everybody together and artwork and everything, it's our newcomer as of January, Fiona McKinnon, just an absolute rock star, man. Like, we're so it just feels like such a get, you're like, sometimes you get like a guest and you're like, oh, I can't believe they guested on our show. I can't believe we convinced Fiona.
Yeah, I feel that all the
like
time when I guest on other shows.
Yeah, totally. People say that about you. They're like, John the Third. Bo. Wow.
Sorry, I cut you off. Cut you off.
No, it's all good. Yeah, no, it's just and we've been doing it a long time, man. We've been doing E3s and stuff like this for a long time. So I appreciate the kind words. It is hard work, but at the same time, like, this is kind of what we try to do. Like, it's just been like, it becomes second nature after a number of years. Like, and you continue to build, and we do a lot of like debriefing after big stuff like this, after stuff like Extra Life and last year's Summer Game Fest. We've thrown our own couple of days to celebrate Carpool Gaming itself. Like, whenever we're launching new shows or pitching stuff to the community to support on Patreon and stuff like that, like, we'll put on days really to just be a little bit different and to give something exciting for people to look forward to. There's something to E3 Summer Game Fest in and of itself that like rallies people around. And I've given this like quite a bit of thought over the last couple of years because it's a real like privilege and honor, and it feels really great to, you know, basically you're throwing a party and you just hope people come. And we've been lucky that people have come, and it's just like a distraction. You get to offer a little bit of a distraction from how awful day-to-day life is. You're like, okay, you can forget about your troubles a little bit in the way that we do with the podcast, but a little different with you know, come join us and celebrate video games over these few days. And we just want to do it well. We just want to do it as best that we possibly can and show we're willing to do whatever it takes, because people could choose whatever they want to. They could go watch Jeff Keighley's direct feed. He could join us. People could be wherever they wanted to. So we're hyper aware of that. So we always want to make it a big deal.
Well, I mean, I think just like honestly, it is really professional. And again, just going back to the artwork, when you guys like put that out there, it was like, okay, Carpool they're on top of it.
Aww.
And like you have been doing it for years, but something about it this year just felt really special. And again, I don't know if that's because like E3 is gone.
Yeah.
And now we have something that's taking its place, and it just feels comforting to know that there are other people who want to cover these games and like care for them, not just because they're the announcements, but the developers behind them and just everybody involved in your community. Like, how many people did you get after, like, how many people followed you or came into your Discord after?
I have no idea. I have no clue. I do know, like, we have that like welcome channel. I know that you know, a flurry of people kind of came in, but I have no clue what numbers are. Like I feel like people don't really believe me when I say like I don't look at numbers. Like I have no idea. I have no clue. We just know when we put the call out for like questions and stuff, people pitch questions for us to answer, and I know when we go live on Twitch for these things, people are there in the chat for us. Like I'm good after that, you know. Like it's far cry from the days where nobody was listening and nobody was watching, nobody's posting questions or anything. I remember the days of, you know, looking through the channels in the Discord and going like, golly, it would be nice if somebody said something here. You know, you'd kind of have to like poke and prod, and you tag somebody and go like, man, somebody else would be really great to come and jump in on this topic. And you'd post news in the Discord, you post like something, just like wishing to God that somebody would contribute. And over time, like the community has just, people have found each other there, I think, which is really, really fascinating. People who play similar games or on similar platforms, or, you know, all sorts of different things. And they kind of know who's going to be around if they say something. So that takes a lot of pressure off, I think, off a lot of the hosts, because the community is really there. And again, like it's just such a far cry from the early days where, like, what is it, the tumbleweed, kind of just like this deserted town, like nothing is happening. But I remember that. I always will remember that. And yeah, just super grateful people show up. So I think that's the heart of it. When we set out to do something like this, it's in recognition of that. Maybe there's a fear that like people will leave at any point. So continue to build off of stuff. And also, not that you really asked about this, but I'm big on like knowing something is coming, right? And so what are you going to do about it? So, you know, Christmas is coming. Like, are you going to say, like, this is just my personal like look at things. Like, I know Christmas is coming. It happens every single year. I got frustrated by going into debt by buying Christmas presents. So I started like stashing away money every year so then I could go buy Christmas presents, because I know Christmas is coming. So E3 is coming, you know, Summer Game Fest is coming. So there's a certain level of preparation that is always kind of there. And then it's like Jeff Keighley comes out and says, here it is, it's happening. And I'm like, all right, we're ready to go. We know we're going to be doing the streams. We know that we want to do some sort of thing with our merch. So we want to like, we kind of already had like a lot of decisions almost already made. So then you just kind of like skin it with stuff. Like you got to have your artwork and your announcements and things like that. So you kind of know what you want to do. And then really the work behind the scenes is making sure you've got people. Like this isn't a me thing at all. I actually did very little, to be honest with you. Seth, Ryan, and Fiona did the vast majority of really pulling this off. And I'm just kind of there to go, have we thought about this? Like, are we sure? Are we ready for this? And making sure kind of like pieces kind of line up. But it's like, it's a huge team. There's 12 of us. And the production crew, as we've kind of like coined ourselves, we're really taking on the responsibility to make sure that ideas like that come to life, and that our team, the rest of the hosts, have they know where to be, and then that allows the community to know where to be. So it's just sort of like this ripple of communications that kind of comes out. So I appreciate the kind words, man. But
were you frustrated with Nintendo?
Yes.
Like, I know in general, like, it's probably like, stressful, but like when you're planning for it and you're like, all right, we have Xbox, or we have Summer Game Fest presentation on Friday, we got all this stuff on Saturday, Xbox on Sunday. Who knows when Nintendo's going to do their stuff?
Yes.
And like, is that frustrating? Like, did you have something planned?
You not? Yeah.
Oh, yes, yeah, dude, totally, I was super frustrated.
Totally frustrated. It's funny because we were watching the Ubisoft one, which was, I think, the last big conference. And it's like, we're thinking Nintendo could announce something at any moment now. And I remember, I actually said this, I can't remember if we were live or not, but I was thinking, like, I would be so mad at them if they waited for everything to be done and then they go the next day. And even today, as we're recording this, they just announced it this morning. Like, I was booking days off work to do what we did for Summer Game Fest. I had the Friday off and I had the Monday off to make sure that we were good and clear. And I can't do anything about Nintendo tomorrow. I can't watch it tomorrow morning. I'm going to be at work. I'm going to try and stay off Twitter all day. But even tomorrow night, like, is the first time I'm going to have a chance to watch it. And my beloved Edmonton Oilers are playing in a do or die moment. So, yeah, thanks, Nintendo. But this is the position that they've earned. They're hot and they know it. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was saying.
But I think they're just lame. They're lame. It's lame. It's lame to like to be that. Oh, I'm not your typical girl type thing. I think that's super lame. I hate that. I hate that.
So do I. Yeah, no, I mean, you guys were. I loved last week. You guys were running down like the first Summer Game Fest, and was it like 6 months or something?
It was like 3 months.
June to August or something.
May to August.
Yeah. Like, get real, man. So it's gotten tighter, but this still has that. Okay, we were all excited last week. Now I'll take off my like fanboy or my content creator hat and go, like, if I were Nintendo, like if we ran Nintendo, it's probably the best move for them. Honestly, they're way out of the noise. They're way out of all that. Like, Xbox had their moment. Everybody knows that was a great showcase, and now we can just worry about whatever Nintendo has, and they kind of get their own spotlight. I'd probably do the exact same thing. But as a content creator, it sucks, and I'm kind of with you, John. Like, we're all excited. We all want to know what the games are coming, and I'm sure it's going to be a great show. But it sure would be nice to be able to plan for these kinds of things. We're adults, damn it. Yeah. We're adults watching video game commercials for 40 minutes at a time.
I don't know why they told us it was going to be in June. They told us this back in May when they had the investor meeting. Why didn't they just tell us, like, it's going to be June 18th at 10 a.m.? Like, why would they not? Like, what is the point of them not telling us?
Did they not have the information of when Summer Game Fest was going to be?
No, they did, because Summer Game Fest is, like, even next year's Summer Game Fest was announced already.
Yeah. Yeah, they just have this mystique, and they command it. It's really fascinating, actually. Just what they don't have to bend the knee to anyone. They do whatever they want. They sit in the space that they want to, and we will all show up. That's as simple as it gets. I wish it was more complicated. I wish there was some sort of secret to it. But they will get more views than Xbox's show. I'm positive of that. They'll have a bunch of pretty good announcements, and we'll all be very excited. So why would they change?
So, okay, to get away from Nintendo at the start of the show. Well, no, I'm very curious because
it's good because I could go on forever. Yeah, no, it's good.
Oh, I mean, we could too, but I think we both know that we have to talk about there's other video game companies, not just Nintendo. Even though I have all Nintendo consoles. At the start of the show, Johnny said the death of E3, and you gave a look like, I disagree with that. Like, how are you feeling about E3 being gone, but Summer Game Fest being here?
I feel pretty good about it, actually. I don't even know what the look I was giving. Sometimes it's just my face. But
Okay, my bad.
that's all right. That is not the first one. Yeah, I have been at I guess it would have been E3 in 2019. I was there
Oh,
with
dang,
Fan
that's a good
Expo.
one.
It was a great one. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty good. And there was quite a few people who went down to LA this year. We got to see, you know, some of our friends go interact with one another down there, and that's awesome. And people have asked me, like, you know, do you ever want to go back? And honestly, like, this is what we did is exactly what I want to do. I loved it. I love, John, I think you were saying last week, like, it's about the announcements, honestly. I will say, you know, if there's something that we're ever to bring like us together, there's nothing quite like it. It's more about like the people who you're able to interact with, and that could happen at like a PAX or really anything like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be like E3. But there's something about meeting your friends from the internet in person that's the special stuff. The rest of it, like, you know, waiting in lines to play a demo or maybe get a behind the scenes look at a game that's not coming up for 2.5 years, like, I could take it or leave it. I love the announcements. What I miss about E3 specifically is a little bit of like a little bit of the charm in the presentation. Ubisoft had a little bit of it. They kind of had a bit of a live presentation, which I thought was interesting, but I definitely miss the thematics of it, the theatrics of everything. I've been saying this for a long time. This isn't just this year, but I such an old man because everybody wants them to just play a video that's trailer after trailer after trailer, and I think that's so lame. I think what we've asked for as a gaming community is the worst thing ever. You know, just by being a bunch of whiny complainers on the internet going like, I don't want to hear anybody say nothing, or I just want to see trailers. I'm like, you can see trailers at any time. YouTube.com. You can watch them, do it yourself. We have asked for the dumbest, most zombie-like, just download that crap into my eyeballs, and we'll just sit here like a bunch of idiots, just like chewing it up.
So what is it that you want to see?
I want to see something go wrong. I want to see them like. I actually, you know what? Maybe the closest thing that we could get from this is the Day of the Devs and the Wholesome Games Direct were wonderful. I loved, especially Wholesome, man. This was my first year watching it. Some people already knew this, dude. They gave us 70 games in 60 minutes, and somehow still managed to give us a little sense of who's making the game. Yeah, that please.
I also like they used creators to talk about or to introduce the games.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. I love a little personality, and that can come across in any sort of different ways. But like them actually playing the game, I find that pretty interesting. You know, like I just don't. Also, with Xbox, I feel like they could have. This would have been the easiest thing they could have done, is just have some sort of like live reaction of the crowd that they were showing in LA. Everybody who was at FanFest in LA, they got to watch what we watched. They were just in a theater all together. And they could have had that like moment from the Avengers when Captain America picks up the Mjolnir, you know, spoilers. And they've got that, there's that one crowd reaction and everybody's losing their mind, and it's amazing. If you're having a bad day, just go watch that. I don't care if you like Avengers or not. Like, that is just people geeking out like crazy. They're losing their minds. And that's definitely a piece that I think is missing, is the live crowd reaction for something to happen. 2019, I was there when Keanu Reeves walked out and I just about fell over. I was lightheaded. I could not believe my eye. Like, from the moment he appeared on the screen, I was like, that's Keanu Reeves, this game is bonkers. And then he shows up over on the stage and it's just like that, you know? Like, it's not the craziest thing in the world, and you can never replicate that kind of thing.
You're just saying that because he's a fellow Canadian. That's what it is.
That's kind of a nice thing, but yeah, it could be.
Well, he also interacted with the crowd. Like, you know, he said,
yes.
It was a great moment.
Something spontaneous, you know, because again, you can't just grab a celebrity and have them show up in a video game, launch them out on, like, now that thing has been done, but something like that. Nintendo is a great example as well. I talk about it all the time. The Robot Chicken, the Muppets that they did that one year, and you know, Reggie was doing Nintendo 63, Nintendo 64. He's doing his push-ups in his room. Like
the Reginator skit, I think, was E3.
Dude, yeah, the what's his name? Translator. Oh, Bill Trinan eating the donuts. Like something more. Put a drama kid in there just to make it fun. Like Cheesy, I feel like you're just like eating this up, man. Like a little bit of theater. What we get now is thanks for watching our showcase. Here's a game. I hope you like that one. Here's what's coming up next.
I kind of get it though. I understand why they don't do it, because the internet sucks. Like
we all ask for
it. People will like if it was a skit or something that went wrong, like people would just berate that person.
Mm-hmm.
And for no reason. Like even if people are criticizing these games just because they have a character that they don't like. I know? Like I get they probably want to avoid some sort of harassment. Like whenever somebody plays a game, people are going to judge them for how good or bad they are at the game.
Yep. Even though like nobody else has played this game.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying though.
But like what a moment it would be if somebody like picked up the controller, like we cannot wait to show you this game, and they die. Like something goes wrong, and like that would be at least memorable. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe this is. I want to do something in Carpool, but like maybe it's better suited for this show as well. Like I'm on a bit of a kick right now, you guys. I don't know if you've heard it, but like I've recently discovered that gaming in general doesn't go hard enough. Nobody's making games in general. There's a few examples, and those are the ones that are jumping out to me, and I'm enjoying it. But games in general are not going hard enough because they're so worried about either offending somebody or making something that everybody doesn't like, or what, like just appeasing the masses. And it's so lame and bland and generic, unrecognizable, unmemorable.
What example? What's the example? What do you got?
All games. The games that stand out for me are like things like Hellblade. I feel like Hellblade, I use the term in my review, like it looks like this game was made by somebody who gave a shit. Like they actually gave a damn, and they went for it. They took a risk. Like that was something on as far as I'm not talking about the length of the game. That's not a risk. I'm talking about like the themes that it explores, and presenting psychosis as a main mechanic of the game, and the way a key part of how you interact with this thing. It's like who's getting that funded at a AAA level or whatever it's going to be. Like that game took a risk. It's so hard to find games that are like, we're going to do this because it's our passion and we hope, at least 6 people like it. But not we're going to make a game that appeases the tens of millions of people out there. And it just, as soon as I kind of realize this, I see it everywhere. Yeah. Games are just so afraid to, and far be it for me to say, like, it's not my money that is being invested. So I get why, but it's like, man, we're so afraid to offend anybody. We're so afraid to do something that some people aren't going to like. So we bank on Marvel. We bank on Star Wars. We bank on things that are known. We bank on mechanics that people like, that kind of stuff. And it's like, where's the new stuff? Like, give me something that showed you just like, you were worried, maybe you were scared that this wasn't going to be amazing. Everything is just bland.
I mean, so it's an indie game, but I know all 3 of us love it. But Celeste is a great example.
A great example. Yeah, man. Totally. Something different. Definitely. And the indie space is really where this is happening, by the way. I should clarify that I really mean like big games. Like the ones that if you look at like the big releases, and actually, you know what? I think that's why a game like Elden Ring stands out and sells so much, because I think that's actually one of the things that is resonating with people is like the horror and the style and the creature design. Like these are not normal everyday design elements in a game. Like Elden Ring goes so hard in every facet. I think that's part of it. People have really been scratching their heads. It's so inaccessible. It's very difficult, all these things. And I think it's just because every piece of it has been just mulled over and they really just go for it. There's a couple of examples like that. But Elden Ring is like, I think that kind of solves for the why is this selling so much, is because it stands out. Totally takes a risk. But that's not what you're here to talk to me about. That's for another episode if you like.
I totally get what you're saying.
Sorry to sidetrack. But it relates to Summer Game Fest.
I'll write it down.
It relates to Summer Game Fest though, because all the flavor and all the salaciousness of it all, like all the theatrics, it's all gone. It's just trailers.
So I think there are some games especially in the Xbox showcase that are trying to have like a distinct voice, like South of Midnight. Like I think that game looks gorgeous and like it's stop motion. Like it's something completely different.
Total Risk, man. Like
and
that animation style. Yes, please.
And it's going to address stuff that we've really never seen in video games. And all I've seen about it is like criticism of the gameplay looking generic, which I don't know if it does, but I'm excited to see what kind of voice that game has when it's all said and done. Just because it is so different than I think things that we see in the AAA space.
Honestly, and it's funny, like the animation style in and of itself is probably enough for me to go like, yeah, that checks off enough of the box that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The fact that it's stop motion, that it's that much different, like it's got to stand out somehow. You know, the graphics are so great these days that it's not even that impressive to us anymore if something is photorealistic.
So honestly, I think that is kind of one of the big reasons that I don't have other consoles, and like I want to experience some of these other games, but something like South of Midnight, that was the first game that really caught my attention.
Yeah.
Because it looks different, and I just love something that has charm to it. What you're saying exactly. Like if something is so like if it just looks the same, when we're seeing a showcase that's 40 minutes long of games that just look the same, and I'm not saying all games are, but like the presentation of it, like what you're saying is it doesn't help. So if you separate yourself, like, maybe I have a little more interest in this and maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah. I'm sort of just like throwing this idea like off the top of my head. I want to like refine this a little bit more because I don't want it to be misunderstood. It's just, it's more of a feeling. And it's hard to articulate like exactly what it looks like, but sometimes you can just like feel when somebody like really went after it, you know, and it's because there's a lot of great games. Like this is not equating games, whether they gave a damn or they are fun to play. I actually think they're somehow separate. So there's still some refinement on this sort of like point that I'm trying to make that is yet to be done. But like, even like, somehow like Doom still qualifies, like the Dark Ages. It's like, man, like this game is so violent, you know, it's not made for everyone. It is maybe part of what I'm getting at here is where you just know it's not for the masses. And somehow when you do that, sometimes you'll find like a pretty large audience who's just been underserved for so many years. And Xbox probably had a couple, you know, bangers like that at their showcase. Call of Duty is probably not one of them in that sense. It's probably going to play it safe, and it's probably going to be, you know, Call of Duty, which I love, and I'm here to stand for Call of Duty. I think they're fun, but it's not exactly the
day one Game Pass. That's all I like.
Day one on Game Pass, man. I buy most Call of Duty games. I'm not marginalizing.
Yeah, I secretly have bought every Call of Duty game since COD 4. I buy it every year. I don't play it.
They're the Nickelback of video games.
Yeah.
So popular, everybody loves to hate them, but like,
so I looked up some stats, and it's been 6 Call of Duty Black Ops since Metroid Prime 3.
Oh damn!
There's been 6 Call of Duty, and then you have all the other Call of Duties in between too. There's so many more Call of Duties than Metroids.
I mean, wait, did you mean Metroid Prime 4 or
Metroid Prime 3 came out in 2010? No. 2010 or 2007, I think.
No way to know.
There's no way for us to look it up or find out at all.
But Call of Duty Black Ops came out in like 2010, the first one, and now we're in 2024. That's 6 Black Ops later, and we still haven't got Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, sorry about you. Well, tomorrow, by the time people listen to this,
oh my god, if it's not tomorrow, I don't know if it's ever going to happen. They canceled that game.
People will riot, man.
Sean, do you think that the indie space has really grown from Summer Game Fest versus E3? Like, are they getting the right spotlight?
Yes, in my heart, yes. And actually, in a way, like I feel like a latecomer to this. I think there's tons of content creators who have celebrated the indie space much longer and louder than I have. But I found myself watching my first Day of the Devs and my first Wholesome Direct, and just going like, how do you all handle this? Like how like give me your tips. how do we survive this? This is a tsunami of games, and how do you even keep track of stuff? My wish list on Steam is over 300 games. I've downloaded, I think, 78 demos in the last like 4 days. I haven't played most of them. I played like 4 or 5, but when you ask me like what do I remember from Summer Game Fest, now having been, about a week ago, I remember games like building relationships. So it's a dating sim starring a house, going around the beach and hitting up the windmill named Millie, and fishing for cars and stuff. Like,
and that had charm in its presentation.
Totally. Yeah.
Like the developer was kind of ashamed of it, but also was like, yeah, this is probably the stupidest game you're going to see all Summer Game Fest. And I know that, but this is what I've put my love into.
You want to talk about charm and uniqueness? Devolver Digital has the most unique presentation out there. So if
usually, even this year, I felt like it was kind of like, okay, I've kind of seen this before. I don't know. I didn't love Devolver's presentation this year. The 25 minutes we got from them, I was like, okay, I like their games, but I kind of like, usually they kind of go harder too.
Well, are you saying with the sketch itself?
Yeah, and kind of just the games that they showed. Like, I don't think that we got anything like a My Friend Pedro or anything like we got that was Cult of the Lamb DLC stuff, which is cool. That's probably the biggest heavy hitter that I can remember off the top of my head. But yeah, but I have a high bar for Devolver. Like, I hold them among like you got to see this. But also, I noticed, I don't know if it was this year was the first time or if they did it last year as well, but like that used to be a show that ran in the middle of the night, like an Adult Swim cartoon kind of thing, like something that you're actually not supposed to see, like whatever the first year. I'd love to, again, no way to find this out, no way to look it up, but whatever the first year that Devolver did it, like most people found out like the next day. Like the water cooler talk was, you guys see that Devolver thing? Like, did you know that they even did a thing? And it was ridiculous. It was completely over the top. That original, was it Nina, like kind of hosting her own, press conference, but it was a taped thing. It was just a mockery of it all. I love that kind of stuff. But yeah, even this year, it's like it was right there alongside everything else. It was almost like it moved into prime time instead of being the late show, if that makes sense. Yeah. So Devolver has gone harder than they did this year. But I think for me it wasn't as good as other years, but they'll be back. They've got a good thing going with Devolver.
So what other indie games are on your radar?
Ooh, man. There's one about a peeping Tom. It's called Tom the Post Girl. It's just an absolutely creepy looking game, almost Tim Burton-esque. You're a like a delivery, like a package delivery girl, and you're always on an assignment bringing a package to some household, and you can either just deliver it or you can start like looking through the windows at what's going on inside, and you just see like the wackiest, craziest stuff. Like sometimes it's almost like horror, sometimes it's weird stuff, like the family's inside acting like a bunch of puppy dogs and rolling around and doing weird stuff. It's just so strange. There's a game called Albert Wild Quantum PI, which is a anthropomorphic cat who's a detective agent just kind of driving around solving crimes and stuff. It's so bizarre, this stuff. I'm just like looking on my desktop here at all the demos that I've downloaded. One that isn't really anything like it, those ones that I've talked about, it's a Where's Waldo game. It's called Lost and Found Co. You're just looking for items, and it's amazing art and just a loving time that you have with this game searching for stuff. You go on, man. There's games like it's called a role puzzling adventure demo, which looks like it's going to give me nosebleeds and make me go cross-eyed, the way that you move through this world in sort of like a grid way, and you're moving. I think it looks so cool, unlike anything I've ever seen before. It reminds me of maybe Braid, which was one of the most, I don't think it has anything to do with Braid in terms of like time manipulation, but just like that style that I haven't seen anything like that before. There's Screenbound, which is the one where it looks like it's a first-person game, but you're playing on like a Game Boy and moving in 2 dimensions, but in the world you're moving in 3 dimensions. Like, yes, that's what I mean. Something like totally crazy. How do they even think of that, let alone how do they pull it off, kind of thing. And I think that we should be able to ask for that every once in a while. I'm great with the third Doom, Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, now Doom The Dark Ages. I love that. I love Call of Duty. I want to see what Perfect Dark is going to be, sort of like the next iteration of that storied franchise. But I also want to see stuff I've never even thought was possible still. Because that's what made me fall in love with games to begin with. I couldn't believe Mario was moving on the television set. I thought that was just stuff for my VCR to happen, you know, for like the cable news. But now I'm like moving them.
Totally get it. I recently played Animal Well. I don't know if you played that.
No, I've missed it. Everybody's talking about this game.
Oh yeah, because that's a new game, so you can't get it, right?
Yeah. Well, what even is, dude? I don't even know what it is. Everybody's talking about this.
It's a Metroidvania. It's
is it? Okay.
It's a puzzle. There's like no combat. It's just all puzzle solving.
You have a health bar, but like you're not attacking enemies, so you may be stuck in a room. And you got to figure out the puzzle before you can advance the next part of the the Metroidvania.
That's crazy. Yeah,
like it is so cool, and it doesn't explain anything, and that's like just that sense of discovery. I think is really what is missing. You know, the same feeling that we got while playing Breath of the Wild. It's like you didn't know that you could do this until you did it.
Yeah,
and it's like there's something that you get that feeling when it's just like, oh man, that's so cool, or like that aha moment, you know?
Yes.
And it's yeah,
man.
And now it's just I feel like it's kind of spoon fed. Like, yeah, I've played a video game before. I know how this goes.
Yeah, and there's a place and time for that. You know, we play a lot of games, the three of us. We're constantly playing games. So there's a time when you just want to go, you sit down, and for me, like racing games are really it, where I can just shut off my brain and just drive around a bunch. Like I need that. But every once in a while, I definitely want something that makes me go like, I can't believe this. And I can't believe I'm lucky enough to have found this, or that, you know, I could be playing anything else, but it's this one that I've discovered. And I got that feeling big time with, the indie games from last weekend.
So overall, how are you feeling about Summer Game Fest? Like, did it please you? Because it doesn't.
Oh, I was pleased.
Okay.
Yeah. Does it sound like I'm being negative?
No. But I mean, I totally get what you're saying. Like for the indie space, it was great. Yeah,
big time.
But for the presentations themselves, like, how do you rank them? Where's your ranking?
I mean, I thought they were great, dude. Like I saw a lot of people really coming down on Summer Game Fest. I was pretty entertained. Maybe my expectations were low, but I often come to these games, or sorry, these showcases going like, can my wallet afford the showcase? That's sort of, I feel like I've chatted with you about that before, Cheesy. Like, I can't afford any of these showcases. If I were to buy the games I'm interested in, I can't afford it. It's too much money. Is kind of the way that I look at it. Because on the flip side, if I'm just kind of, you know, an angry internet commenter, then it's very easy to go, these are the reasons why this is terrible and everything is awful and I hate this, this, and this. But there's a lot of games, 70 games in 60 minutes on Wholesome Games Direct. Many of them were great. It got to the point where my brain stopped making decisions and I just started wish listing them all, actually, because I got through like 6 or 7 of them. I'm like, these all look pretty good. I'm done making decisions now. You're all in. Everybody's in, because I can't individually decide anymore. That's how good it was for me this weekend. I thought Xbox had, you know, just one of those showcases that was a statement. They're not going anywhere. They address the concerns without saying, we hear you. You know, they're just like, how about World of Warcraft, and how about Diablo and Call of Duty, and Perfect Dark is here also, and Gears of War is coming back. Like, what else could they have done? You know, they fixed Halo 2, I guess. I don't know. Like, I thought Xbox had a really, really strong showcase. They got out of the way and showed us the games, which I think a lot of people wanted. I think it was great. I had a great time watching all of the stuff. Dude, even Ubisoft, which I think generally was a fairly like middling overall presentation. I think Star Wars Outlaws looks incredible, and Assassin's Creed Shadow, I think, is like day one. Those games, that's enough games. Those 2 games, if you're just playing like
slices,
it's enough slices. It's totally enough slices. Like, even if you watch all of the showcases, you could be busy for the rest of the year where Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed. You could be good. That would be enough. But also, you've got all these demos that you play for free. and have a whole bunch of new experiences that you've never had before, expand your mind. But instead, people spend so much of their time whining and complaining on the internet about
But
what sucks.
Sean, nothing is enough. I need more.
Dude, just play the game. I'm on a bunch of soapboxes. You guys got me on for Summer Game Fest. You're getting all my soapboxes right now.
I love it.
I'm becoming very wary of people who are passing along like secondary opinions. So thinking about where is the opinion from a primary source, or is it regurgitated from someone else? In that, and Hellblade is my go-to example, at least for the time being. But surely it will happen again with Assassin's Creed, and even more urgently with Star Wars. Is more people were loud about Hellblade. Those are the people who didn't play the game. And the people who were quietly enjoying it were the few. It's the vocal minority is the idea. But I think it's a very slippery slope to become one of those people who kind of says like, I hadn't played the game, or I played it for 20 minutes, and then here's my 20-minute diatribe about the game that I haven't played at all, and actually I have no primary source, but I'm gonna spend 20 minutes of content talking about somebody else's opinion that may have been actually generated by somebody else's opinion. Like this is a problem in content creation, and it comes from a place of none of us have time to do anything. We don't have enough time to play all the games. We barely have enough time to read all the articles. We read the headlines and create an opinion on that, and then all of a sudden that propagates into spinning its own kind of narrative. And I don't like it. I'm gonna do whatever I possibly can to, at least within Carpool's community content, to do something about it. We got to play these games and talk about it from our own experiences, and also challenge in a positive, compassionate way, because people have gotten so used to this. It's gonna like knock people's hair back when they realize that this is happening so much. But to call it out and go like, did you play that game? Or the opinion that you even heard, was that from somebody who played the game or watched the movie? Was it the Mad Max movie that just came out and everybody's talking about the end of cinema? Nobody watched that movie. They can't say anything about
They
that.
have the end of cinema then, and now this past weekend we had Inside Out.
Inside Out
300 million in the box office. So
it's these sweeping statements, this broad brush sort of commentary. It's a pretty bad problem, and I really have to watch myself because I'm making some strong statements here. Surely I have done this in the past, right? Like I have. There's very likely footage or podcasting audio of me doing exactly this, but I've sort of like just kind of realized it, especially after the Hellblade review. So I really just want to be watching it now because it's clear as day. Once the light bulb went off, I'm like, holy crap, we're all doing this. We're reading a headline and making an entire opinion on it. And talking
it's also like,
minutes.
Unfortunately, negativity gets more views.
It definitely gets more views, but it's easy to slip into it. So it's actually easy on both sides. It's easy for the audience to click into it, but it's also easy even today. Like I'm slamming games that don't go hard enough, and all of a sudden it's like I sound like somebody who didn't enjoy Summer Game Fest. I was thrilled with Summer Game Fest. That was hours and hours of content work that didn't feel like work at all. I didn't want it to end. Like I thought it was amazing. So it's very easy to slip into, let me just bitch, whine, and complain and vent for 20 minutes because I guess I've just been doing that this whole time.
No. I don't think so. I think, it's okay to give your opinion, like you're saying, but when it comes to a secondary opinion, like, it's funny that we're talking about this because I feel like I have to apologize because last week I was calling out Jeff Keighley for, how much he was saying these ad spaces were or the slots were to like be put into Summer Game Fest, and like a 30-second trailer, it was $250,000 is what the internet was saying or reports were saying. And the names Jer and Clockwork Clone called me out and just said that was for ad space. That's not.
Those are commercials. Yeah.
And I guess I just totally misread it. I thought that he was charging people for indies and like. But
don't you think like right now you're sort of like correcting for that at the very least? Like that's different to me. Definitely.
Yeah, and I think I even said it last week. Like I don't personally know the guy. There's something about him that like when it comes to games, like I just get a weird vibe from him, or he's not fully committed, or is like wanting the audience to care. It's more about just like he's making money either way, you know?
Dude, I know, right? It's people used to talk about like, oh, he's got to keep the lights on. It's like he's not doing this for like a net zero profit, you know? Like he's got a team, and he's making a living from it, which is totally great. You know, he's beating us all at it. Yeah, honestly, good for him. So, absolutely.
But like, when you can correct yourself, like I think we all have been doing, it means something when you're able to recognize that. Oh, hey, I may be the problem, and I may be spreading more of this virus around. Like, maybe I should be the example, not, just set awareness. The example.
I think it's just awareness, and I think what people don't realize, if you're somebody who only consumes content, if you're not somebody who's creating content, you don't realize that like none of this is really scripted. Like we're all off the cuff and we're just having conversation, but it's documented and it's recorded. So we're doing the best that we can in the moment with the information that we have. Right? So I'm not trying to shout from the rooftop asking for perfection, because that's impossible. We'll never get anything out. You have to create something, the knowledge that you have, using your instincts and your gut and all that kind of stuff. That will never change. Right? So you podcast and you create content with the information that you have, you put it out there. But it's not the individual kind of incidents that happen, it's the patterns and it's the trends, and it's the, what you just did, I think, is something that like instantly breaks the trend that would have been ongoing if you just kept going, just spouting stuff off, not knowing at all what you're talking about. I think it's an honesty, like it has to be in a core of genuine nature, and you have that. Both of you guys have that. You know that. And I think that's the toughest part about making claims like I am tonight, is the wrong people will take it the worst way. As in, the people who I'm not talking about, they're going to go, oh man, he's really coming down on me. I'm like, I'm not talking about you. The people who have no idea about, like, they're just spouting off at the hip and don't care. They're getting clicks and doesn't matter. They'll never self-correct. They will never apologize. This message doesn't resonate with them at all. It never does.
I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I've been watching The Acolyte, and maybe it's not the best, but the whole narrative that's going around about it is just kind of making me sad. Like, Star Wars is the thing that it's supposed to be special, and like we all should enjoy it. And if people are saying Disney killed Star Wars, and like all these videos are being made about how bad Star Wars is now because of one episode of a show. And it's just like, I don't know, you got to look at the bigger picture. I do think there are people out there that they don't want to get involved with like having to deal with that toxicity, so they just kind of enjoy it on their own. So the people that are participating are the ones that want to have this toxicity and continue the toxicity. And it's just, I don't know. I doom scroll Twitter way too long. Like, I get on the wrong side of Twitter, and it's just not fun. Like, it makes your hobby not fun.
Totally. Because people who didn't actually watch the thing are regurgitating this opinion that ruins it for you. Like, you actually watched it.
Yeah.
And people who haven't watched it are ruining it. But that's the core of my issue, is that people can yuck somebody else's yum and they hadn't even experienced it themselves.
And to bring it back to like Summer Game Fest, I think people are doing that all the time, where if it's like a game that they didn't get, or there's just games that didn't interest them, the whole showcase is garbage.
Totally.
But like there wasn't one game that made somebody happy, or like that was the thing that made that showcase for someone, was just that one game.
Dude, Lego Horizon.
And then you just crap all over it. Like, that sucks.
I mean, Sony bookended Summer Game Fest. They opened with Lego Horizon, and I don't remember what did they close with. They had the ending one as well. What the heck was it? But in any case, like, dude, Lego Horizon looked awesome. Yeah. And like now everybody's going like, what else do they want in Lego form?
Right.
Like, what? Like, what?
That Lego Zelda game.
Totally. Like what a fun conversation that we get to have because now this game exists. You know, I thought that was really interesting. Oh, was it Astro Boy? Astro Boy closed out Summer Game Fest, didn't it? Or no, that was
that was the
PlayStation.
showcase.
Damn it. I'm really showing my
But that game, like that game looks awesome. Like I hope people actually buy that game. I'm worried about people not buying Astrobot.
Are you really? I think it's gonna sell well.
Because Ratchet and Clank did not sell that well.
That's true.
And they have a similar vibe. But hopefully all
it was early. It was early in the gen. It was early in the PS5. Wasn't it like the last? Like
yeah.
It
was
Ratchet
like
Clank?
probably the first year. Probably in the first year. Yeah.
And it was PS5 exclusive because they believed in generations back then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we remember that. What the heck?
But yeah, Astrobot looks good. I know Cheesy thinks it looks better than anything Nintendo has ever made, but you know.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that it looks better than anything they've ever made. But like when it comes to charm, which I think Sean and I are on the same page, that trailer just by itself had a lot of charm that like I don't know if I've seen in the Switch era. Like there definitely is charm in the Switch era, but just within that trailer, it just looked like pure
Odyssey
fun. I
Tears
know
of the
Odyssey,
Kingdom.
but I mean, I get it.
Super Mario
I get
Bros.
it.
Wonder.
Tough to argue with that one. I hate it because like I can talk about almost any platform except PlayStation without saying I like PlayStation. But I'm gonna say something mean about PlayStation in a second, which is I think, and I'm like on an island out here. Everybody loves Astrobot. They think this mascot is super cute. I think it's sterile and boring. I think Astrobot sucks. But that's just me. People are allowed to like it. I hope people like it. I own a PS5.
Did you play the tech
I thought
demo?
It was fine. Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I think it was fine. It was definitely a tech demo. And
I'm not trying to take it away, but I actually played it. And I just thought it was okay. But I'll take Mario Odyssey and Mario Wonder over Astro Boy any day of the week. I'm happy people are happy about Astrobot, but it's not for me.
I'm getting it. I'm going to get the deluxe version because they have the Bloodborne skin. And you want to
that's hilarious.
You want to talk about a game that hits hard? Bloodborne. I've never played a game that before.
Same. Yeah. It's going to be difficult. It's going to make you uncomfortable. Like the visuals, the level design, everything, like the weapons, your choice of are you going to go one-handed or two-handed? Oh, dude, that game rules. Bloodborne. Yeah. Can I just like equalize my nastiness towards like Astrobot with a little like?
Well, I'm upset about PlayStation not showing love to Bloodborne. I mean, it came out in 2015, I think. We haven't gotten a next gen update.
Even a remaster.
We haven't got a remaster. Like, come on.
Bloodborne rules. Bloodborne is one of the best games on that damn platform, and I think PS4 is one of the best PlayStations. Period.
Yeah, it's like I have 2 platinum trophies, and it's one of my platinum trophies.
Oh man, PlayStation 4 rules. Like that, it was all. I was all in on PS4, you guys. I think is, probably. I want to do like a ranking of this from just like the console design. One of the best looking consoles, like day one versions, probably the best. Maybe I love that thing. I think the DualSense 4 is the best controller PlayStation's ever done. I know everybody's all about the DualSense.
I don't like the DualSense 5. I don't like it.
I think it's too fat, but that's just me.
I don't like the triggers.
I can't even grip around the whole dang thing. DualSense 4 rules. The PS4 rules. So many games. Bloodborne is amazing. Rocket League was this crazy success coming out of PS Plus. Like, paved the way. Like, created this new way that games are going to come out and be amazing and super popular. And games would kill to have the success that Rocket League had. And it existed on PlayStation. Like, man, I'm
thinking about like all the movie and TV show adaptions. How is Rocket League not being made? That would be awesome. That would be so cool.
There's lots of like
it's owned by Epic now.
There's lots of toys.
Yeah.
A great soundtrack. They got bought out by like Sonic got bought by Epic. Great success story. Unless Epic has shut some of them down. Maybe now. I think.
Maybe.
Yeah. See, now I have to go like overboard because I say something like one mean thing about PlayStation 5 and Astro Bot.
I will say like PlayStation 5, or the issue with PlayStation 5 and even the Series X is, I don't think they ever defined themselves as like a new generation.
Yeah.
Like, I still feel like we're in the Xbox One and PS4 era. There's nothing that is exclusive to these next gen games that make me feel like we're next gen yet.
Yeah, it's tough to argue with a point like that. If people think that, it's tough to tell them like, well, here's an example that should shatter that belief. Like, I don't think I've got anything like that. All I would say is, if you go back and pull up, like if you fire up a PS4 or an Xbox One, it's going to be a pretty rough ride. Because it has been so gradual. It's the toad or the frog in boiling water. It doesn't even realize it's happening. If you flash back, you snap back to 2017, even 2018, pretty rough time. But it's all the quality of life stuff. It's not necessarily even the types of games, because there's great games on PS4 and Xbox One, even Switch. During those times, but like you could still play Assassin's Creed Odyssey on a PS4, and or a PS5, and it's to that point, I think that's why it's hard to shatter that belief. You go like, yeah, this $500 machine was totally worth it. A lot of people have doubts about that, and I challenge that only just to say like, okay, well, sell it and just play on your PS4 then, and you're gonna have an awful time. I don't think you're gonna have a very good time with that at all. Play Call of Duty on the new play the new Call of Duty on a PS4. I think that'd be pretty rough.
Yeah, no, I understand. I can see where you're coming from, because I have an Xbox One like hooked up to one of my TVs just as like a DVD player essentially.
Totally.
And it's like a relic. It takes forever to load.
That's what I'm saying.
And just like doesn't work right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you just wish you could swap out a nice like NVMe drive or SSD like that, just to speed up some of that quality of life stuff. But we had great games in the last generation. I think it actually speaks more to how great the games were in the last generation than the lack of anything within this generation. Like I think we're just now getting to the point where we can feel a little nostalgia for PS4, Xbox One era, which is weird to pair them up like that.
My God. Oh.
But you can.
Only like 7 years ago. So I actually went to see Inside Out 2 over the weekend, and well, I don't want to actually. Maybe I won't. I won't spoil it. I'm not gonna spoil it.
I know what you're gonna say.
But that just reminded me of that. It's like no.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet.
When she's older.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys feel like this, but there's like post-pandemic, and then a blur of 4 years. And then pre-pandemic, like it's two completely different things. Like I was a completely different person pre-pandemic than when we went through the pandemic, and I feel like we lost. Like I think the PS5 and Xbox came out in 2020.
2020, yep.
So,
yeah, it has a lot to do with it. That definitely has a lot to do with it. We lost all sense of time, all semblance of it, and you throw a brand new generation in there. And arguably, neither console really launched with like, this is the one you need, And I don't know Xbox One launched with, maybe some people might say Rise, PS4 maybe like a Killzone Shadowfall, which pretty awesome game.
Yeah, honestly. That game looked awesome back then.
Yeah, it looked really, really good. But yeah, tough to say for PS5 and Xbox Series X. Like I think Gears 5 had like some DLC. At the time, I
don't even know what launched. Oh, I know PS5. It was like Demon Souls.
Demon Souls looked awesome, though.
Yeah, From Software carrying the weight.
And Insomniac, yeah.
Yeah, Insomniac, yeah.
Yeah, really, really good.
Even like,
so yeah,
I rip on Spider-Man a lot. I'm not a huge fan of the Spider-Man games, but like just the technical feat that it is, and actually how cool like. Spider-Man 2 had really cool fight scenes and cut scenes. Yeah. But you could like boil it down to like, oh, well, it's just more of the same.
I know. I'm like, I agree with you. And it actually kind of proves my point. And I'm like, I don't want to use that one to prove my point, because I love me some Spidey. I love the way those games feel. I love, being a superhero and everything, but they kind of are the point that I'm making. Like maybe a character dies, maybe that's as hard as it goes, but that's Spider-Man. Like the comics kind of go hard like that. But yeah, it's kind of expected in a way.
So being on the other side of, watching and capturing the Summer Game Fest, if you were putting on like your own Carpool Game Fest, what do you do and how do you make people happy to where you're like balancing everything out, like the charm that you're talking about? Like, do you have a good idea of what it would look like, or do you think that you would need years of planning?
I think there actually that last part of the question
what's
is
the
really
secret
interesting.
sauce? Like, what's the balance of it?
Iterating is the secret sauce, and I think that's Jeff Keighley's magic little spice. Is that he is, as imperfect as anybody can call him and his sort of like products, he's very open to feedback, and that's something I think anybody can really say about him is you can see him receiving the feedback and feeding and putting it back into whatever the next thing is going to be. He's always listening and always iterating, and that's paying off for him. That's always going to make whatever he's doing feel fresh, even if it's going to frustrate some people. So I give huge kudos to him, and I think that there's definitely something to that. So I wouldn't want to plan for years. I think it's more important to do something, even if it sucks, even if it's imperfect, as so long as you're able to like look back and go, what went well, what was tricky, and what might we do differently next time. Like that's the approach. But the first thing that comes to mind when you say something like that is like, I don't think that well, I'll speak for myself. Maybe my colleagues in Carpool might have other ideas, but like, I'm not really interested in like putting on like a summer game fest. For me, it's all about, it always comes down to community and like, what are they going to do? Like, are we going to give them something to do? And so like, I feel like a weekend of like playing games, either alongside in some way, like afterwards, maybe making the weekend of it, and just kind of like a tailgate party to the Super Bowl, right? Like the Super Bowl is Summer Game Fest, but like what's happening around it, like just outside of it, like that's where I think Carpool can kind of like sit, or any one of us could really make something. So that could be maybe in year one, it's just like esports tournaments, just like fun, non-competitive, just a bunch of like Mario Kart tournaments or something just a little notch up from what a normal community game night might be. Maybe it's like every hour you're switching to the game, and maybe it's fighting games at one point, maybe it's some racing games, and who knows what else. Like something that you're just kind of on, and you're giving people a place to hang out either before the party or creating like an after party kind of thing. That's probably where I would start. And something like with Extra Life is a really good example, where we have traveled to Rome, New York for a number of years, where we play video games for 24 hours straight, and we do it with a room full of people. And we got to the point where we kind of got as good at that as we possibly could. So last year we added a couple of days prior to game day. We rented a hotel conference room and hosted a bunch of our friends to join us 2 days before game day. And we did Dungeons and Dragons, and we played WarioWare together. We did a whole bunch of just like cool stuff. We ate pizza and hung out and just kind of did that. And that's kind of exactly what I'm talking about. It's kind of like a tailgate party to the main event, which was Extra Life. So creating some like tag along, like piggybacking off of the big energy is kind of where my mind goes with a question like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So cool. Yeah. I mean,
So I
I
guess we're
don't
gonna have to do that now.
make it happen.
It's in the universe now.
Yeah.
That's how half this stuff, if probably most, maybe 90% of this stuff happens. Is we just kind of just sitting around and going like, what if we did this?
God, I love that. I used to do theater, and we would like come up with sketches, and that's what a writing room is. It's like the most boring day. It's exciting, but it's also just like, well, what if we just had the character do this thing, and then that's like when the ball starts rolling, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. Or it's just something that's so dumb, but you laugh about it, and that's just when the great ideas come. Is when you're kind of bored, but just like, I don't know, going to the back of your mind and being like, well, we could do this. I don't know how well it's going to turn out.
Totally.
But yeah.
And we have such a really interesting mix of people now. We have some people who will kind of go along with that energy. And then also there's people who kind of have to like make it happen. And so they'll be the ones first to say, well, that's obviously impossible because of this and because of this and because of this. And then the rest of us turn and look at that and go, you just laid out the roadmap. Like those are the obstacles that we just have to account for, and then we're good. Like
so what I'm hearing is next year's Summer Game Fest is going to be a tailgate party.
Yeah. Some sort of that. Yeah. I mean, the tailgate for Carpool actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I'm literally just kind of saying it out loud. Like you asked such a good question. I love that. That's one of the things I really like look for in people who I collaborate with. It's like, I can't come up. No one person can come up with the ideas on their own, but like, I think I thrive with like good questions. Like I think there's something to that. You know, I think you really pushed me with that question because I'm like, as you were asking, I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna say. Like, what is the answer to this question? I have no clue. You know,
it's like Michael Scott when he starts a conversation, he doesn't know where it's going and he just keeps talking and calls it an improvisation.
Yep. Yeah. It's who knows, but there's something fun. Like, but it's the challenge of that hard question. You're like, what would you do, smart guy? You know, like, what would I do? Shit. Like, I've said a lot today, so I don't know. But then I kind of go back to what has worked before. That's where that iteration kind of comes from. It goes back to something that we decided really a long time ago, and now it's just second nature. It's like, it's always community, you know? So like, how do you celebrate the community? How do you give them a place to be? You know, as somebody who has been through some hard times and just like wishing that someone was streaming at that time, just so I had somewhere to be, you know, through those times. That's why I'm so grateful to podcasting. I hope that we can give that to other people. I know you guys have. And I'm just, you know, trying to reflect that back into the world as best I can. I'd never really know what everybody else is going through, but if that helps somebody get through a medium time, a tough time, a great time, and it just amplifies it, then that's even better. But like kind of going out of our way to give people a place to be and to get distracted and to celebrate things that we know that they're passionate about. It's like, those are the reasons. That's why we do it. That's why I don't know how many people joined our Discord. That's why I don't know how many people sub to our channels or what's going on any of the numbers. It's like,
just because the people that are there are the ones that matter.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You nailed it.
I will say I listened to the Xbox Drive. It was like 3.5 hours or so.
We just went.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was I like 3 hour, 4 hour videos and podcasts. Yeah. Like you just gets me through the workday, and I was pumped for some Xbox games.
Hell yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks for listening. Yeah, we have a great time doing it. The Xbox Drive in particular is a show that started, I had to squeeze in some time on my commute. That was the only time I had to podcast. And that was just it was a different time. My kids were very, very little, and I had 30 minutes to spare. And it's a far cry from where we're at today, man. Like I was recording from my driveway to the parking lot at work, and that was it. And now, you know, Xbox Drive is sometimes 3 hours long, and however long I've been yammering on about you guys to you guys tonight about all this stuff.
It's just fun, and I know that community is really important to you, but like even the way that you guys will gamify some of your episodes, like when it comes to the predictions, you know, the over under.
Oh, yeah.
Even if Amanda doesn't understand the rules, it's great.
I don't understand. I feel like I'm trying to be nice to her, and I just end up offending her. But that's the story of my life, I think. Yeah, everything can be different. Everything,
Yeah.
even like this show is different. I love tuning into this show because it's like just when I think it's gonna like veer into, you know, here's the news of the week or whatever, it's like it's not that at all. It never is. It never has been. It never will be. You guys are so you just want to talk, and it's so funny because the formats are a crutch for us as far as like making it a little bit easier. And this show is so free flowing. You know, I think we had maybe one topic in mind for tonight, and I've taken us off into wherever. But it's been, I don't know, I've been super interested just to chat with you guys tonight about
that's what
we discussed.
That's what we wanted to really do. Like we have the Nintendo Powercast, which is more structured, has more of the new. Well, I wouldn't say structured,
yeah.
We're
But
not that
listeners
organized.
want that too. It's not a knock on structure. It's not a knock on formats, and many of our shows, if not all of our shows, have it. Because there's familiarity that is palatable for the listener as well. Like that's super important.
And personally, like I've listened to shows, and I've been a part of shows where there is a very like stilted structure, and I don't like listening to those shows, so I don't want to have a show like that. Like I would like to listen to a show that I personally enjoy.
Just a little different. I think part of it is like all three of us, we all listen to so much stuff, and I've been listening to podcasts for like well over a decade, maybe 15 years. I don't even know at this point. It's impossible to know. And so you sort of almost like accidentally become a student of the craft a little bit. And so you kind of know what everybody's doing. And then for me anyways, I just become aware of like when everybody's doing this, it's like just a little different, just a little bit.
Yeah. And it also just depends on your taste, right? Because like, I know
100%.
there's people that listen to Johnny and I, and they're like, what complete bozos. They have no idea what they're talking about. They don't care about game
What are
development.
you talking about?
Then,
they are very enriched by listening to me.
I'm
least.
with you guys.
And then you listen to like All In, who Seth and Eric. I mean, my God, those people love video games, and like they love the art of it. They love every single little detail of what makes a video game, and it's so fascinating to hear what they have to say, because I mean, it's just informative.
Yeah. Seth puts it really well. I don't know if he was the first one to say it or if he heard it from somebody else, but he talks about creating content that only you can create. And I think that is actually, and Seth is always more eloquent with his words than I am. I'm just a blunt force trauma kind of guy. What he's really getting at, like,
just real quick, I get it, because I listen and I'm like, how does he know these words?
Yeah.
I don't. And like how to use them properly.
I know. No, it's like he actually thinks about stuff and is gifted.
Yeah.
But like it's what I'm trying to get at, but he says it much better. Like when I talk about like just be a little bit different, he's talking about like bring something unique to the table. And for him, it's his passion and his eloquence and the way he talks about games, his knowledge and stuff like that. I think Ryan Turford is another guy who comes to mind, just this encyclopedic knowledge, his broadcasting background that like all kind of culminates into this mixture that is only Ryan Turford can make the content that Ryan can. We have an RPG podcast. Like it's all about role-playing games. It's like who has that? And that doesn't come from this this intense intention to create something different. It's just that's Ryan. That's just what came out of him. And this show is what has come out with from you guys.
I'll give a shout out to Nagachaka, because he made a whole he's been doing like PowerPoint presentations, and then Microsoft shouted him out. Like that's amazing. But that's because he loves doing PowerPoints.
Yes. Yeah, find what you love and just kind of like go with that and have fun with it if you can. But yeah, I really, kudos to Seth. I've learned and continue to learn so much from that. He's so wise. The beard like that. He's just like
it's the beard.
So much wisdom. So much wisdom. Yeah, I don't know what came first, the wisdom or the beard, but package deal regardless. Yeah. He makes us all better.
Well, I mean, I don't know what else there is to say about Summer Game Fest, E3, all of that. I'm glad that we still have this time where like June rolls around and you're like, oh, it's video game season. Like it's video game Christmas or for the holidays or whatever. And it gets everybody hyped. Everyone's talking. And then, maybe we do get these trailers where, Johnny was saying like, this game comes out in 2 years. I'm not really excited for it. But it's like, it's the existence of it, I think, is what people get excited for.
Like I said, it doesn't get me up in the morning.
I get it, man, but there are for some people, like they're super excited about Gears of War, just knowing that it is in the future.
I'm excited for it too, but I won't think about it until 4 years down the line, whenever that game's going to come out.
I would love to have like a compilation of the contradictions of John Ebo.
Whoa.
Me too.
I would love that. Would be so amazing.
I don't know. I don't know.
You believe it all. Like that's the best part. Like Cheesy calls you out, and I generally go like, I think you're onto something here. But like, You are so, John, you're so dead set in your beliefs. It's like there's no shaking it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like what you say is, and like nonsense to anybody else, man. Good for you.
There was I forget, I don't know if it was on this show or another one, but there was a comment, and they're like, I couldn't listen because he kept contradicting himself or something. I don't remember what it was.
Well, it's not even like 100% contradictions. You always find yourself with like this little sliver of difference. It's like, yeah, well, I said that about that thing, but this one is this like a little bit different because
it's always like the little key
detail.
words that you have to listen for.
Yeah, you got to be 100% on, you know?
Exactly.
I don't know.
I love that.
Yeah, well, we'll see tomorrow. Well, when this goes live, I might already have ordered the chip, and I might have been wrong for the first time ever in my life. Honestly,
right now, for everyone listening, do you think you're eating the chip?
Yes, 100% I'm eating the chip. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that we will see something, and it's going to be something stupid like Kirby, or it's going to be like Kirby Pinball.
It's going to be called something amazing just for this bet. It's going to be called Kirby's Brand New Adventure. Like something ridiculous.
What if
like
it's
you've never seen anything like this before? Kirby is in a whole new place.
The spicy Kirby adventure, like they're gonna add the chip in there, you know.
Kirby doesn't like take any powers at all. He's just a flying marshmallow. Like that's it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be something.
His ability to take abilities.
Something like that. It's gonna be dumb, but you'll see a tweet on probably tomorrow with me ordering the chip.
Hey, dude, I give you so much kudos for a bet like this. I once bet, I think, $50 US, so this cost me a fortune because I lost it. I thought for sure Cyberpunk 2077 was coming to Game Pass day and date, and I bet $50 on that sucker. And I lost, like, in the end. But go for the underdog bet. Like, it's just an absolutely ridiculous. It's kind of what I'm talking about. You know, like
even though it was underdog though.
Well, it's kind of.
I still have faith. You know, I still have faith.
Really think about it. Like, come
on, there's a chance. You're saying there's a chance.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, it's a bold choice. Nobody else is making.
It was a troll at first.
Hell yeah.
And now we cemented it in history.
I love it.
And I'm gonna pay the price for it probably.
Yeah, for a while.
But I'm standing on my principles. You know.
Yeah, good. I love it.
Sean, thank you so much for being here. Honestly, I don't think that we set you up properly at the beginning of the show and everything that you do and what Carpool Gaming even is. So if you want to, give your pitch on that and where people can find you.
Well, thanks for having me on. I would imagine the community and your audience will say, what is this guy even talking about? Never met him back on, but it was fun for me.
I actually think we have a lot of people that listen to Carpool.
Oh, well. Glad you guys are here too. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean Capri, Sean like Connor, Capri like the pants on Twitter. And everything that we do, you can find at carpoolgaming.com. We have a show for, believe it or not, PlayStation, as well as Xbox and Nintendo. Nintendo Drive, Xbox Drive, PlayStation Drive, as well as that role-playing game show that we call the RPG Cave. We have a wonderful Patreon with a ton of exclusive content over there, and a wonderful Discord, man. Everybody's so nice and lovely. We say good morning to each other, and we just try our best. I'm probably the most opinionated, I think, of all of us. I just kind of get a little carried away, but my co-hosts balance me out, and we have a great time with all of our shows, and it has allowed me to meet you guys. So it's like it's just the best, dude. I can't believe we get to do this, and so thank you for inviting me on tonight. I get to yammer on about God knows what for 90 minutes or so.
Well, thanks for putting on your summer game fest or just like capturing the mome. I'll use the mome. I don't know if I'm allowed to.
I think you're good.
It felt right in the moment.
There it is. Yeah, man.
You'll be going live on Tuesday as well.
Hey, yes. There it is.
Yeah, Tuesdays. Yes, when we have a whole it's a whole vernacular. We have a whole other dialect in Carpool Gaming Land. So what happens when you mix a bunch of Canadians with a bunch of Americans and throw an Australian in there as well? So we're international. Our community is international. It's a good time, man.
And when you listen to Carpool, you all will weep.
Yes, we Sean Wheat. We're a mess over there, man. Like we're just like listing off all the inside jokes. It's great.
It's honestly feels like just a morning radio show where you're like, you have to have so much energy to like get people going in the morning, whatever their commute is, and you guys just bring the laughs and like just the good energy. And I don't know, it feels like while you're listening to it, you just know these people.
Oh, well, I do know you.
Well, that's true. Yeah, and I know
maybe that's why you feel that way.
Everyone except for Amanda, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, same thing, man. Everybody, we're all just people. And it's good to hang out and talk about video games and whatever else we talk about.
Well, Johnny, where can people find you?
I'm Johnny Bo everywhere: Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and the Nintendo Powercast. I also wanted to shout out to Drip and G podcast. I was on there again. We were doing predictions, and also I whooped Jeeb at Nintendo Switch Sports.
Oh, dang. So he owes you 2 pinkies now?
He owes me 2 pinkies, yeah.
Damn. Wow.
So we got...
That's all
they're intense over there. They do pinky bets, man. They if you lose a pinky. And we're doing one chip over here. Pinkies? Yeah, you only can lose 4 times.
Like hand pinkies or like pinky toes? Like that counts?
All of the above.
Oh my gosh. Oh, speaking of going hard, man, Jesus.
Yeah, they heard you. They're like, "Oh, we'll go hard."
Yeah. So okay.
But no, those guys are great. And we've been doing a stream like every Friday, playing. Like we did Mario Kart. We've done Nintendo Switch Sports, and we just kind of have a fun little rivalry going.
That's awesome.
And maybe Cheesy will stop being so scared and show up one night.
I'm not scared. I just am busy, man. But I would.
I have a life on Friday nights, you losers.
Man, it's pretty nice, hanging out with my wife and doing stuff together it's a good time. But you can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Nintendo Powercast. Sean, thank you so much. Close us out. What are your closing thoughts? What do you got?
Oh, damn. Jeff Keighley is a handsome man, and I think he's doing some good stuff for the gaming industry.